Keir Starmer's carefully crafted image as a saviour of British politics is rapidly unravelling, with growing criticism painting him as little more than a figurehead for the global elite. Russell Brand hasn't held back, describing Starmer as a WEF stooge, a label that's gained traction amid a deluge of discontent and speculation. Remember Starmer's celebrated debut? The Labour Knight in shining armour who promised to rescue the party from irrelevance and rejuvenate the opposition. With his composed persona and pledges of a new era in leadership, voters dared to hope for a Labour renaissance. But British politics is nothing if not unpredictable. The honeymoon period for Starmer has well and truly ended, and a sobering reality has set in. His approval ratings are plummeting, leaving many to question whether the man once heralded as a beacon of change has lost his way entirely. So, where did it all go wrong? For many, his handling of the migration crisis is a key turning point. Under his watch, over 20,000 migrants have entered the UK, straining public resources and testing voters' patience. Taxpayers are increasingly frustrated, feeling the pinch as Starmer's leadership struggles to present concrete solutions. And it's not just migration that's causing disillusionment. Starmer's approach to free speech has raised alarm bells, particularly his recent public critique of Elon Musk regarding social media content. Critics argue this veers dangerously close to censorship, alienating those who value open discourse and robust debate. Political analysts have taken note of the growing unrest. Many argue that Starmer's leadership feels detached, more focused on lofty rhetoric than addressing the day-to-day concerns of ordinary voters. The promises that once electrified his supporters now ring hollow, leaving many disillusioned with his tenure. Even more striking is Starmer's response to the mounting backlash. Despite a significant drop in public support, he remains resolute, refusing to alter his course. This rigidity has led some to speculate that Starmer may be nearing the end of his political journey, undone by his inability to adapt to shifting public sentiment. The contrast between the optimism of Starmer's early days and the current climate of dissatisfaction is stark. What began as a hopeful new chapter for Labour now feels like a replay of tired, uninspired politics. The gap between Starmer and his electorate has never been wider, leaving many to question whether he can bridge the divide, or if his leadership will fade into the annals of missed opportunities. Just when it seemed the narrative around Keir Starmer couldn't take another twist, in steps Russell Brand. The comedian turned political commentator has emerged as one of Starmer's most vocal critics, and his recent takedown of the Labour leader is sending ripples through British politics. From light-hearted comic to political provocateur, Brand's transformation is nothing short of astonishing. Brand has accused Starmer of being out of touch with the public and labelled him a WEF stooge, a claim that has sparked fierce debate. He argues that Starmer's rise to power was facilitated by a system designed to stifle meaningful change, claiming that the political framework limits the election of leaders who challenge the status quo. But the critique doesn't stop there. Brand zeroes in on Starmer's handling of the UK's migration crisis, highlighting the arrival of over 20,000 migrants since Starmer took charge. Brand emphasises the strain. This places on public services, housing, healthcare, schools, all funded by taxpayers. His rhetoric challenges Starmer's reassurances that the system is under control, painting a picture of a government struggling to cope with mounting pressures. This petition that's changing the world, seen by 39 million people, Brand notes, referring to widespread dissatisfaction with Starmer's leadership. He describes Starmer as loathed just months into his tenure, with each new migrant arrival adding fuel to the fire of public frustration. Brand's critique extends to Starmer's stance on free speech. He singles out Starmer's recent warning to Elon Musk over content on X, formerly Twitter, framing it as a dangerous overreach. To Brand, this push for stricter controls alienates proponents of open dialogue and raises questions about Starmer's commitment to democratic principles, Perhaps most damning is Brand's commentary on Starmer's response to public outcry. He cites the Labour leader's dismissal of a petition signed by 2.9 million people calling for his resignation. Brand characterises Starmer's reaction as dangerously arrogant, brushing off the petition as mere grumbling from a few dissenters. These accusations, amplified by Brand's influential platform, are shaping public perception and potentially reshaping Starmer's political future. Brand warns that if Starmer continues to dismiss public frustrations, he risks alienating voters completely and losing any chance of regaining their trust. With calls for a general election growing louder and Starmer's approval ratings at historic lows, Brand's words could be the spark that ignites a larger political shift. As public patience wanes and discontent grows, the pressure on Starmer to address these criticisms has never been greater. Whether he rises to the challenge or falters under the weight of it all remains to be seen. Is Keir Starmer, democracy harmer, facing the harsh reality of his own unpopularity? Russell Brand's stinging critique has thrown a spotlight on the Labour leader's dwindling support, intensifying the challenges facing his leadership. Brand describes Starmer as one of the least popular leaders in the UK, a damning assessment with potentially far-reaching consequences. Starmer's political trajectory has become a cautionary tale of unfulfilled promise. Once hailed as Labour's saviour, he now finds himself overwhelmed by public disillusionment. His initial appeal has eroded under the weight of missteps, with issues like migration and free speech at the forefront of voters' frustrations. Brand's damning label of WEF stooge has only amplified the scrutiny, pushing Starmer further into the spotlight of criticism. The cracks in his leadership are evident as his approval ratings continue to plummet. The question now is whether Labour can recover from this crisis of leadership. Will the party stand by their embattled leader, or is it time to seek a new direction? This unfolding saga is a stark reminder of the power of public opinion. In today's world of social media and instant communication, political fortunes can shift in an instant. Starmer's decline underscores that even the most promising leaders are not immune to the will of the people. As voters become increasingly engaged and vocal, the message is clear. Leaders who fail to listen and adapt risk losing their mandate. For Starmer, the stakes couldn't be higher. Can he navigate this storm and restore faith in his leadership? Or will he become another casualty of the rapidly changing political landscape? Time will tell if he can weather this storm, or if Labour will be forced to turn the page.